But immediately over to you, Bill, and your perspectives on science for innovation towards transformative societies. Over to you, Bill.
Thank you. I want to mention two topics in the realm of science supporting development. But first, I'd like to make a very brief comment stimulated by presentations yesterday, which I think are quite relevant. The presentation yesterday by Zygmunt Kleinmont covered a very important topic of co-benefits of near-term climate change mitigation. In the shortage of time for his presentation, he was only able to show his last slide, which had a picture of Secretary Clinton with others announcing earlier this year the Climate and Clean Air Coalition to reduce short-lived climate pollutants, which I think was a very important new global initiative to realize concrete benefits on climate, health, food, and energy by reducing black carbon, hydrofluorocarbons, and methane. I think it was an important pragmatic step, and also was not caught up in the global politics of climate change mitigation. And as a number of country partners, including Bangladesh, Canada, Ghana, Mexico, Sweden, the U.S., and others. And it builds on the Global Methane Initiative as well as the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. In another presentation yesterday, Bill Nordhaus, I think, presented a very intriguing framework for a global arrangement to put a price on carbon, which of course is the favored tool of economists to have an efficient market mechanism to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The theoretical framework of a club, as he called it, of major economies implementing such a framework using tariffs to penalize free riders is, and here I'm just expressing a personal opinion, I think it's a very interesting framework that's worth a detailed investigation, and I look forward to his talk tonight. Now my two topics. The first relates to urbanization and innovation. We heard yesterday that urban areas throughout the world are expected to grow rapidly in the coming decades, doubling in population from 3 to 6 billion and housing 70% or more of the world's population. And if these cities are to remain viable and prosperous, they will have to be on the cutting edge of developing and adopting and implementing innovations in a wide range of sectors. In my role as Science Technology Advisor to the Secretary of State, I've had the pleasure of talking with representatives in science technology of many governments around the world, countries at all stages of development. And I find that they all place at the top of their agenda, really their highest priority, the relation of science and technology to innovation and economic development. In order to ensure, I believe, a prosperous future for their citizens, they see this issue is absolutely key, and they're making new investments in revising policies, investing in education, research and development, with the goal of trying to create more innovation-based and knowledge-based societies. Well, now with the rapid urbanization that's occurring everywhere, cities have this absolutely key role, since most of our people are going to be living in cities. And also, cities are the key economic drivers of most countries. And apropos of the discussion today and yesterday of the importance of narratives and stories in communicating with the public, as well as mobilizing decision makers, I believe that a very powerful narrative combining the concepts of innovation, sustainability, and urbanization is the goal of building sustainable, innovative, and livable cities. And by innovation, I include not only innovation through science and technology, but also innovation in planning and in governance. One of the cities that I have visited recently that I was very much impressed with is Medellin, Colombia. Probably all of you know about the history in Medellin and the problems related to the drug wars, but the leadership of Medellin, including the government, the local government, including business and universities, that came together to try to chart a new vision for the future of the city and used all of the tools at their disposal, including things like architecture and culture, as well as planning, as well as science, technology, and innovation to address some of the key challenges in the city, including addressing the plight of citizens who live in poverty, who lack services, and who lack jobs. The goal was to create a vibrant, livable city with a robust economic future, and I think they've made a lot of progress. I live in Fairfax County, Virginia, which includes Arlington and Alexandria, Virginia, and I was recently in Berlin and learned that the cities in my neighborhood are actively working with German cities trying to adopt and utilize some of the technologies that German cities have developed in terms of addressing energy, environmental, and transportation issues. So I think cities have a lot that they can learn from each other. In the developing countries, I think there's the potential of new infrastructure that can leapfrog over some of the traditional infrastructure that we've built in the developed world, utilizing new technologies and communications and sensors and new materials. I recently attended a conference called the Global Innovation Summit, which was in Silicon Valley, that was organized by Al Watkins, who was the former science advisor to the World Bank, and it brought together a number of developing countries, all looking at potential solutions in addressing these kind of issues. So I believe that over the next 2 decades, our cities can be in the lead of implementing innovative thinking and innovative technologies addressing a range of global challenges, from climate change and mitigation to job creation, sustainable economic development, and livability. And I think the narrative of sustainable, innovative, and livable cities presents a positive future, utilizing science and technology as a source of optimism as well as an agent of change that can appeal to the public, can appeal to business, and can appeal to governments. My last topic is the use of open challenges and prizes to stimulate innovation addressing challenges in the developing world, particularly in low-income countries. The U.S. Agency for International Development has a science and technology advisor, a very bright and able young fellow named Alex Dagan. He and his staff have implemented a number of innovative programs, in my view, using science and technology to address development. And I might mention Nita Fedorov was both my predecessor as science advisor in the State Department. She was also the science advisor to the administrator of USAID, but they found in trying to replace one talented, energetic woman, they had to resort to 2 men. One USAID program which I'm particularly enthusiastic about is called Grand Challenges for Development. There have been 3 so far and a 4th in the works and many more to come. The first one was on saving lives at birth, the second was on all children reading, and the third was on powering agriculture, and the 4th is likely to be on stopping human trafficking. These open competitions are available to anybody in the world from any sector. For saving lives at birth, they had 600 applications. They came from non-governmental organizations, academic and medical research institutions, faith-based organizations, for-profit companies and foundations, nearly half from outside the United States and 25% in developing countries. The 77 that were invited to display their ideas in Washington, I reached a very wide audience, and 22 were given initial investments to help take their ideas, inventions, and innovations into the marketplace. All of these grand challenges are public-private partnerships. The Saving Lives at Birth included the Gates Foundation, the Government of Norway, Grand Challenges Canada, the World Bank. The one on powering agriculture includes the Swedish Development Agency, Duke Energy, OPEC, and African Development Bank. The second program I want to mention in these open competitions is called LAUNCH, L-A-U-N-C-H. It's a partnership of NASA, our space agency, USAID, my office at the State Department, and a private company, Nike. It is also an open competition available to anybody in the world from any sector to generate ideas and innovative technologies addressing challenges in developing countries. The first 3 the 4 have been held. The first one's addressed water, health, and energy. The most recent one addressed minimizing and eliminating waste. The ideas and innovations came from all over the world. The best ones did not get a financial prize, but they got to meet to come to a conference with venture capitalists and advisors on business plans. They received a lot of help on how to take their ideas and inventions again to the marketplace, and LAUNCH has generated over $40 million of investments in support of these development interventions. These 2 programs, I think, are great examples of public-private partnerships, which I believe are almost essential in addressing our development and environmental challenge. In the last 30 seconds, let me congratulate IIASA. I've followed IIASA for 30 of its 40 years. I think it has done yeoman work in terms of taking insights from science, technology, and analysis to the world's decision makers. But I also think it represents what I call science diplomacy and doing it at its best. It's been a vehicle for working to improve relations between countries to build more peaceful, secure, sustainable, as well as prosperous societies. Thank you.